normally we have the idea that there's a self which is somehow separate from some of the contents of our messy consciousness.
That's right.
If someone tells us we're wonderful, we don't want to be separate from that. But if we feel afraid and if something tells us we're awful, we do want to be separate from that. So it's rather selective. But nevertheless, we do feel there's something in us which is separate from the contents of this messy consciousness. We normally act in such a way as to change either the contents of the consciousness or our relation to them or our relation to the world and so on. But we don't normally examine this apparent separation between the self, the me, and the contents of the messy consciousness. That's something we don't challenge. Now you're suggesting that, in fact, the separation which we can actually experience, and most of us do experience, is in fact something we ought to challenge and look at. And we ought to face the idea that we actually are the messy consciousness and nothing other.
Obvious.
Well, it isn't obvious, it's very non-obvious, and it's a very difficult thing to realize, because one's very much in the habit of thinking one is separate from it.
So is our conditioning, can we move away from our conditioning? Our conditioning is me. And then I act upon that conditioning, separating myself. But if I am that, no action, which is the most positive action.
The way that would be heard, I'm afraid, is that if I don't act on it, it's just going to stay the way it is.
You're suggesting that by recognizing this, there's a sort of, the process of recognizing, of facing up to, and of...
It's not facing up. Who is to face up? Not recognize. Who is to recognize it? You see, we're always thinking in those terms. I am that, full stop. We never come to that realization. Totally. There is some part of me which is clear. And that clarity is going to act upon that which is not clear. That's always this goes on.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm saying the whole content of one's consciousness is unclear, messy. There's no part of it that's clear. We think there is a part, which is the observer separating himself from the mess. So the observer is the observed.